Hey guys, welcome back to ArtosisCasts. This is going to be our third game here between FlaSh and Larva. They played a ton of games, as you can see. Definitely some interesting ones. And we're going to Roaring Currents. Yay, our island map. So far, unquestionably, these have been our strongest two players strategically on Roaring Currents. FlaSh has come up with a lot of stuff for Terran and shown some cool plays, but I don't think he is nearly as far along as Larva is on this map. Larva's match against Bisu here was God tier. His other games I've seen here, God tier. I think he was the first to figure it out in ZVT as well. I thought that his crazy Zerg approach was very, very smart. And we'll see if he's going to continue down that road or he has something else in mind. But yeah, I'm very excited to see this match between these two, because I think like this is the one map I might bet on Larva against anyone on, because it just seems like on Roaring Currents it's just so different, and it's got some insane defenders advantages that you have, so you can kind of get away with just playing a strategic game. You don't necessarily need to out micro or out macro somebody. If you have a vastly superior strategy, you might be able to win. And the only person that strategizes probably on Larva's level, well, there's a few, right? There are some very strategic players that we know about. Sulky is an excellent strategizer. FlaSh, top tier. Calm, top tier. Larva, top tier. Trying to think who else is really known for strategy. Those are the ones coming to mind. If someone else comes to mind, I'll let you guys know. But those are basically the ones where it's like, okay, these guys think about the game in a much better way than everybody else. And this is actually pretty well known in the Korean scene as well. But yeah, let's take a look. It's just a regular hatchery first and a regular command center first. No big surprises here. You can make a Zergling tight wall in, so command center first becomes a lot safer. Like, you have potential to actually live through things like 9 pool. Yeah, you just have to come down and make that next depot. It's like, you might not. It would have to do a lot with the SCVs shifting out, right? Like, a 9 pool, the Zerglings would get here in about 20 seconds. And so it's like, you know, he's like, let's say you see that and you're coming, you're like, okay, if the SCVs stay on the inside, we have some potential here to live. And then you basically win the game. Because 9 pool will be so garbage against command center first. But like if your Artosis and your SCV keeps popping out, 100% dead. You lose countless SCVs as every time you tell it to build, it just walks out and dies. Okay, so anyways, it doesn't matter. It's not a 9 pool or anything like that, but I'm just trying to explain why this could even be a good build, even against 9 pool on this map. Okay, so FlaSh coming down. And yeah, there is a Zergling tight one here too. Depot, racks below in between them. That's also Zergling tight. A lot more surface area on your building depot though, so harder to hold in this position than it would be up here. It's funny things about StarCraft 1. All right, factory is already coming up, so nice fast factory with this. I imagine he's going to go double starport. You could go straight mech, but like that doesn't compute in my brain here. I don't think that would be a particularly good call. I think you like opening 2 starport seems to be a good way to play this map, at least against Protoss and Zerg. Not as sure against Terran, because Terran could have some pretty hard counters to that. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. Oh, it is going to be straight mech. Okay, I'm down. I mean, FlaSh has some of the best mech builds. In fact, I guess the strongest mech. He has the strongest everything. It's actually an annoying thing about FlaSh. It's like a very cool thing that we have in StarCraft, that we have someone that's literally better at everything than everybody. But like the amount that I have to point that out, like if I'm talking about another player, it's like, well, Light's the best Terran if you count people currently playing in ASL. And it's like everything has the caveat of, well, FlaSh exists. Anyways, Vulture coming out to push back these couple of Zerglings. That won't surprise Larva even a little bit. You would never open SK Terran here, realistically. I mean, you could, but it doesn't make sense. eBay on the way, and it is the double armory build. Okay, so this gained a little bit of popularity. It makes sense to me that he would utilize this map for that. A couple things, like obviously when you see someone open mech, the odds that they're going to stay on mech is like almost 100%. We only have one one build that's been used in tournaments, and actually FlaSh used it one time, and I believe he lost the map where he used it in ASL. Who made it? Who was the first person I saw do that? It might have been Barracks was the first person I saw do it, which might mean that it came from FlaSh anyways. But there is a like Goliath into bio build that's like kind of an all-in, where you use the Goliaths and you make it look like it's mech and you force the mutas back, and then you move out with some Goliaths and tons of Marine medic and you just break everything. So yeah, that's like the one kind of good all-in-ish play like that. But yeah, when you see the 2 armor, you know that, well, nothing like that could happen here. You're rushing to 2-2 with this build. Generally, the 2 armor build is looking to block everything and hit a 2-2 timing. That's just generally how that goes. Like if you see 1 upgrade building, generally it'll be like a 2-1 timing. With 2, it's always going to go up to 2-2. So anyways, Scourge fly in, and Larva sees that this is a 2 factory opener. And FlaSh going to start adding some more factories now. Larva already with that 3rd base up. And this will be... Oh, my God. Already 4 queens? Really? Really? What? This is the fastest queens I've ever seen in any game ever. Ever. He's also getting Overlord speed, okay? Or no, that's the transportation. So, and obviously flyer carapace. That's no surprise that you would go for that. But yeah, a few mutas flying around. Okay, so let me start taking a few guesses here. Okay, so Queen's out already. I think what this means is that he wants to start building energy literally right now, and he's going to utilize a sunken-based defense and just blow up any tanks that are trying to kill him. He's also getting drops, and just drops. Like, he'll get speed afterwards, but he's getting drops first because when you see Goliaths, you know that your opponent doesn't really have air to stop your slow Overlord from transporting. So I think that's what we're looking at here, is Larva is just saying, I'm gonna defend with Sunkens early and blow up siege tanks, and like, if you have the right number of Sunkens, the Goliaths have a very hard time. Goliaths do not pair well against sunken colonies. You have to like really move into them and stuff. It's a very weird thing, but like, yeah, Goliaths just don't like fighting Sunkens. You have to use so many move commands to get them close enough that they're all shooting, because a lot of times like the back rows will be moving around. So a little switch into Hydras here. No big surprise. I don't believe he's actually gotten the Spawn Broodling upgrade yet, but should start that very, very soon. Don't forget, he's been using Ensnare a lot lately. Also, it looks like +2 attack already on the way, +2 carapace, or +2, yeah, +2 vehicle carapace not started. Probably will start very soon. That'd be pretty surprising if he did not. When you get the double armor, it just makes sense to keep all the upgrades going. And actually, armor upgrades against Zerg are better than armor upgrades against Terran or Protoss with mech. Because Zerg units generally do less damage but attack more quickly. So it's just like very, very good. Now this Goliath walk down, this base is gone. You have to sacrifice it. Notice he's already made the additional Sunkens. This won't be something that FlaSh attacks into. So this is like an actual very important moment here for FlaSh, is just nailing this hatchery. He's going to have his own 3rd base going up super, super fast here. He has a Radiate coming as well. I'm actually very excited because of the amount of queens being made. FlaSh will identify this pretty soon, and I just want to see how he wants to deal with that. So there's a few different thought processes, okay? So one is, we've seen Speed try EMP a little tiny bit against Mass Queen. So there's that idea. Then there's another idea that I credit to Fantasy. I always have to point this out. I'm pretty sure Fantasy came up with it. And we saw JYJ attempt it against Sulky once, where you skip all Vulture production with mech, and you go Turret Goliath Siege Tank. And it's about zoning the queens out. So any queens that come in will die because all of your units are basically anti-air units. And it's very hard to actually hit the siege tanks with it. You know, if a queen broodlings a Goliath and then dies, that's actually value for Terran. If they broodling a tank, we consider that like value for Zerg. And then, of course, oftentimes they live and get to do it again. And that's where the huge amount of value comes in. So If you completely skip vulture production and focus on making lots of Goliaths and then some siege tanks in there as well, that is another way that we might see mass queens solved. By the way, he is making so many queens, it's actually insane. Larva has very few units right now. Oh, a parasite. I don't think he even has spawn broodling yet. Oh, he's getting energy. Yeah, no, maybe he does. Maybe he does. And then he parasites that as well. You might actually see restoration come out from FlaSh. I'm not 100% sure what he thinks about that. Anyways, we have this base up. We have this base up, getting a lot of drones over here. You're going to want to make mass sunkens in this area so that it's harder for, you know, Terran to get in here and drop. He has a few hydras in there, but I really would suggest like 3 sunks. Maybe a spore as well. So many queens. Jeez. So like 5 plus another, was it 9? So that's 14 plus he had 2 over here. Like it is a huge amount. Also, second starport coming up just for drop ships. Look at this, 4 add-ons already, 4 without add-ons. And I don't believe we have a single vulture. So this is really, really interesting. Because we know, and there's restoration, by the way. You don't want, the parasite is so annoying. It's much better to just make medics and get rid of it, because otherwise they're doing things like parasiting siege tanks, science vessels, and you can't really do anything. They'll get your drop ships, right? They'll just throw it on everything possible. So very good to see. This is an insane game already. Insane game. And I really do want to reiterate that what I was talking about, where you skip vultures completely and you just go Goliath siege tank, it looks like FlaSh is using that style. And I've only ever seen this style, like, I think 1 time. Oh my God, he's expanding the Larva side as well. Dude, this is so crazy. This is not the first time we've seen someone do this. Didn't Larva do this to someone as well? Just insane. Bunch of queens over here. Okay, he does have that spawn broodling, so I did miss that upgrade, but it makes sense. And he's spawn broodlinging so many of the Goliaths. And now, actually, there was more Hydras in the Overlord. So he'll clean that up pretty well. But, like, those, again, those are not, like, the most valuable spawn broodlings. But if you're not losing the queens, totally fine. Oh, Scourge to take out one of the dropships and then actually parasites the other. Really, really good. Larva trying to take all of the islands right now. And, like, FlaSh looks like he might be able to stop one, but has a lot of Overlords here with some Hydras. So going over there to stop that from being stopped. Nidus is getting up. Obviously, Niduses are going to be incredibly important for these islands. Realistically, he probably should go into Defiler Tech eventually as well. You know, I think if you have, like... I mean, Plague and Darkstorm are just 2 of the strongest spells in the game. Obviously, he's utilizing Hydras and Queens right now, and that's where all of his resources are going, but eventually I think you will want that. By the way, FlaSh actually did go to 2-1 and now is going to 3-2. Kind of interesting, the cadence of those upgrades. Another command center over here, probably to fly over to here. Has this command center set up, but no SCVs there yet. Definitely going to want to get some down there. If he can suck the resources out of that base before Larva realizes what's happening, that's really, really good for him. More queens. Defiler Mound on the way. This is just such a weird game between 2 absolute strategic masters. And I can't even believe this. There's 12, 16 right now. Insane amounts of queens. This is so funny. The Broodlings. Did you know the Broodling is the only unit with shorter range than the SCV? But the SCV is considered a ranged unit? Did you know that? I know everything about ranged units just because I've tried to think of every way to kill units under Darkstorm, and there's just nothing. Okay, so lots and lots of queens. The Broodling's kind of taking over this island. I like the Goliaths up here. It's just very annoying to deal with these. He might end up spawn Broodlinging those later on. Command center flying over here. The fact that FlaSh has this, I feel like this is a game changer, him having this base up. And Larva doesn't seem like he's even scouted it as of yet, because he can definitely kill this. If he brings over his queens as well as his Hydras, he definitely can erase that. Excuse me. Siege tanks and Goliaths sitting on the other side of this bridge. He's not sieged, though, so the Hydras actually beat this when it's not sieged. And he's sieging it so late that the Hydras will beat this anyways. So that was definitely a little bit of a mistake there. Not necessarily the end of the game, but like, you know, that's a nice group of units that was just lost by FlaSh. But FlaSh is maxed out. Larva's pretty low on supply comparatively at 140, but that's not as bad as it looks. And I'll talk about that in a second. We see this moving forward. Those are some good D matrices. And we'll push those Scourge back. Okay, so this group of units looks like it came down to kind of help that, and now Larva has come up here and seen what's going on. This is so fascinating. The absolute different ways that you can try to play mech here against the queens. Now, this particular area doesn't have that many Goliaths and doesn't have any missile turrets, so you can see still just snaps the neck of a bunch of siege tanks very quickly. The broodlings, of course, with like no upgrades are getting absolutely... They're such crappy units. They never do anything. I don't know if you knew this, but you can spawn broodling larva. That was my idea for infinite units back when I was a kid. I had that idea before StarCraft 2 really showed us what that was all about. Okay, so FlaSh will save this base and he will kill this base. In the meantime, we have a big drop coming down here. I will be honest with you, I've actually thought about this a lot, and like Zerg's really holding on to these islands very, very well. And it doesn't feel to me like there is an answer for breaking it with dropships. I think, so my opinion would be like, once Zerg gets these two islands, you have to let them have them unless you want to go battlecruiser. I think battlecruiser science vessel could, in theory, just erase everything on the map over time, right? Like that makes sense. And keeping them, you know, out here, it's like even defilers aren't going to be able to really stop that because you can't approach them. They kind of control where they're at. But you can't really go for something like that with a mech composition, right? So I think what you do from there is you say, okay, you're going to mine this out. You're going to mine this out. That's okay. And just try to fight for the rest of the map. FlaSh moving forward, trying to take out this Nidus. In fact, will end up getting the Nidus. 3-2 upgrades, absolutely insane against these 2-1 upgrades. Plague is on the way. And it seems like there are enough Hydras here that he will end up holding. But the siege tanks brought to the high ground. Very smart move. But the queens are going to be here. Broodling's one of them right away. Dude, this is such a crazy game. This takes so long for the broodlings are going to run out of time maybe before they kill these. 3-minute lifespan, actually. Okay, gets that right before its last volley. All right, Dark Swarm is out now, so he's going to be able to clear these positions a lot better. Yeah, the Hydra's going to be able to clear this, it looks like, but more siege tanks coming down. Yeah, maybe he can actually still save the command center. If he lifts it and floats north and repairs, I think he actually saves it because he has enough siege tanks coming down. More Hydras coming up. FlaSh's supply, by the way, has dropped off a little bit here. Mostly producing siege tanks at the moment. Having this base is really, really big for him, by the way. Another Nidus is going up. Gonna hold on to this base and prevent this base once again. FlaSh has this island, but isn't really paying attention to it at the moment. He has made a third starport and a fourth starport, but we don't see what he's going to do with that. And, excuse me, where he built them could either be he's just trying to get them down and he'll think of where to get the add-ons later, or it actually could be the idea of making a group of wraiths. That's actually something I hadn't talked about, but that was an idea actually that Nyokin was telling me about years and years and years ago, was getting a group of wraiths to kind of patrol around and try to snipe queens. The problem is ensnare, plague, all that stuff can really wreck the wraiths very quickly, but they definitely can be useful. Like you have a group of wraiths, yeah, it's 24 supply, but they can get a lot done. They can be highly annoying. So maybe that's an idea he has right now. By the way, an upgrade we rarely see, that is Overlord Vision Length. How do they increase Overlord's sight range? So just wanted to point that out. We have Defiler energy on the way as well as more upgrades. FlaSh has so much of the map. It's kind of crazy. Another big drop going down. Some siege tanks being left on the high ground here to try to help clean this. But you know what? Just killing this base is very important. Like this is a game where we might actually see it come down to like one base being denied. Because here's the thing. FlaSh has a lot of the map, but these bases suck. They just don't have a lot at them. So, like, yeah, he can mine those out, but these 2 islands are a bit better than those. You know, it's just something to keep in mind. This island, I think, is actually, if FlaSh wins this game, I actually think it's going to be on the back of this island, probably more than anything else. 3 more add-ons. So he's got 7 add-on siege tank right now. That's the most I might have ever seen in a pro game. Queen's coming up. Really, really efficient here for FlaSh. But really, really efficient as well with the queens. Look at this. 3 kills, 3 kills, 3 kills, 3 kills. So each of these have cast 3 spawn broodlings. That's insane value. That is insane value. And the longer he keeps them alive, the more they'll get. And it's like, yeah, FlaSh has had so many mining bases, and he has 7 factories with add-ons so he can remake the siege tanks. But what happens is you run out of money towards the later game. What happens is you can never kill islands, and spawn broodlings keep coming up, right? Just something to keep in mind there. Really smart play. This is such a fun map. The fact that we're seeing things like this defensively is so cool. Using some parasites in here. Very, very smart. Just wants to see where these units are going. He has some medics, so he'll probably... Well, I don't know if he still has them. I imagine he would. Yeah, here's 1. Here's 2. Yeah, that's... It's really smart to just keep a couple of these out. Restoration against parasite is needed. Okay, this is a huge drop coming up, and it looks like it's like basically all hydras. More spawn broodlings coming up. Dude, it is crazy. So he lost like maybe 2-3 queens there only, and he killed like 7-8 siege tanks. You can see how over time this isn't a winning game for Mech. You kind of stall him out, gain a ton of value over time, but it's a crazy army that he's bringing down here. A bunch of 3-3 siege tanks. He's actually bringing in the overlords. I love the double irradiate here. Really forces his hand to drop everything out, but has plenty of units. Just erases that entire army. FlaSh having to pull back now. And it looks like he has forced a lift off on this one again. FlaSh having a hard time holding on to this space. And, okay, he did put add-ons on these. And that is Science Vessel Energy right there. So, Science Vessel Energy coming up. We still haven't seen EMP, I don't believe. I think he's just going to start utilizing Irradiate a little bit more. Oh, picking up into the dropships could be one way to save some of these as well. Oh, there is one other thing. You can float a building over a siege tank so that it can't be clicked on. I tried that many years ago. I had this epic game where I literally had like 30 eBays floating over siege tanks trying to stop a mass queen player. I think I ended up losing. I'm pretty sure I ended up losing that game still, but it's an idea. It's an idea. An eBay costs less than a siege tank, so it kind of makes sense, right? In a way. It's just too gangly. It's too slow moving. So FlaSh right now is really running out of money. I think it's incredibly important that he holds on to this space. And this space, obviously. You know, he's mined out here. He's mined out here. Larva is finally taking these 2 bases. Larva really just plays this map better than everyone. I think it's actually... At this point, I do think it's a favored map for Zerg if played correctly. But it is impressive how well he plays it, because I don't think any other Zerg is playing it anywhere near as well as him. Excuse me. More queens coming up. Just that insane value once again. Throws down some irradiates, but it's just not quite doing it. It's like you're killing 2-3 queens when they come in to kill 8 tanks. Over time, that is a losing prospect. Both players, though, very low on money. About the same supply. And normally you would give Zerg the advantage there, but mech units are more cost efficient than bio units, right? So, you know, you could argue that the game is very close here. But I feel like we're watching the queens just grind this out no matter what. With the Larva getting these 2 bases especially, it's just going to give him the little bit of extra resources he needs, I think, to break through the last remnants of what FlaSh can produce. But FlaSh is mining from basically full economy from 2 base. This one is a little bit low on SCVs on minerals, but not the end of the world. Some more irradiates coming down. Yeah, FlaSh can barely produce anything. Quite a few science vessels, so I guess that's why you got those additional add-ons. Okay, pretty good kill here with the double dropship. Does finish it off, but of course he'll lose all of this. Yeah, I actually don't think anyone can beat Larva on this map. I think you just saw FlaSh with like really good ideas and everything. And obviously he's FlaSh, so just everything he's doing is so strong, but like still you can see there's no one has actually come up with the full answer to playing against Mass Queen. All right, picks off one of those defilers before it can get all of its spells off. Dark Swarm does go down there. And this, I feel like we're getting to the very end of this game because Larva is just still producing and FlaSh is like, well, he's still producing a little bit for sure. He's got a little bit of money left here. We're seeing he's popping out as many tanks as he possibly can. Excuse me. Scourge just coming in as the Goliath count has really dropped off. Oh, that was terrible. He could have killed more vessels than that for sure. He could have killed all of them if he had spread right. But yeah, more spawn broodlings coming out. FlaSh trying to push into these bases, but like actually there's enough Hydras now to kill everything as well. And even though FlaSh has these islands. So yeah, I still think there is potential with the Mass Goliath, missile turret, siege tank type composition. I think there is potential with EMP, both for anti-queen plays, guys. And I think that there is potential on this map specifically. The idea that I came up with if I ever had to play a big TVZ here is siege tank, battlecruiser, science vessel, Valkyrie. Which, that sounds insane, right? But like if you have enough siege tanks here and you float a few buildings over them so they can't be rallied, then you kind of control the one land entrance, right? And then Valkyries actually beat everything in the air for supply. Like, if you have, like, 12 Valkyries with 3/3, they beat almost every single thing that can occur. And then, like, just kind of clearing with Yamato, irradiate, that type of thing. Anyways, that's kind of my idea for this map specifically. But as far as the ideas for how to play against Mass Queens with mech, if that ever gets figured out in a good way, like if it's actually becomes something that can be done in practice, we might actually see the game shift away from SK Terran permanently. Like, I think SK Terran will always be used a certain amount, but we, like, if there actually someone comes up with something that people can do that stops Mass Queen, I don't see a reason why you wouldn't go mech most of the time. Guys, let me know what you think about the mass mech and stopping queens. Which of these current paths I talked about might be the way? Because the game is still evolving. It's like we do things now that we were not capable of doing before as people get better and better and understand the game better and better. So I do think that there's going to be more evolution of it, and some of these ideas will continue to be tried, because I haven't seen FlaSh do this style yet. I've only seen JYJ try to pull it off, and he couldn't quite do it. And we saw here, FlaSh couldn't quite do it. But it might be doable. It might be doable with better positioning, smarter pushing, things like that. So guys, thank you for watching. Hope that you enjoyed. We'll see you next time.